Hey, everybody, and welcome to a conversation with Tim Mann. Hey, Tim, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you, Bob.
Are you having a good day?
Yes, it's been pretty good so far. My dad's just a little sick. My father is a little older. He's sick
Yeah.
today.
I saw recently that you were at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
How'd that come about?
It's their potluck ones they do on Monday where you submit, and then you submit on a Friday, and then you get chosen on a Monday that same day.
Mm-hmm.
So it has happened to get picked. They're going to change the format here, I think, in a couple of weeks. You have to go in person now, but it was great if we could just submit online.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were 16 of us, all these up and coming comedians, and it was a packed house, sold out house, and people having fun and laughing. It was really great to perform. That was my biggest audience thus far.
Yeah.
It holds about 100 people in the main room.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on stage with all the greats that performed there: the Jay Leno's, Sam Kinnison's, David Letterman, Jerry Seinfeld, all the big names. And you see
Carrot Top, all the big ones.
Jerry, yeah, performed there, and so it was a great experience. And I look forward to some more there, and some of these other venues, big venues. Enjoyed
That's
it.
cool. So let's go back a little bit in time, and I'm
Sure.
guessing my thought is that Tim Mann wasn't always doing comedy. I'm assuming Tim Mann had another life previous to this, did he not? Like when you were
Yes.
young, were you always like, I want to be a comedian, or what was your aspirations back then?
Well, actually, when I was younger, you can see that I'm older now. I wanted to pursue golf. My parents bought a home on a golf course over in Northridge, put a ranch, and started playing golf and got the bug and pursued golf and moved up to Monterey. And I worked at the Pebble Beach company there in Pebble Beach and worked on Spyglass Hill as assistant pro and just worked on my game. Had a great coach named Ben Doyle. He was a big name in the golf back then. And I took it as far as I could. I couldn't make money at it, but at least I gave it a shot and did that dream. So that was my first endeavor.
Yeah, how like was this when you were younger? Then I'm guessing. So you were at your folks and you lived on the golf course. So then I guess you got
14,
to go out and play.
13, 14.
Yeah,
Started.
You've kind of got your ambitions flipped a little bit. Most people wait for golf when they get older and do comedy when they're younger, and you're doing golf when you're younger and comedy when you're older.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the typical route. But so I'm guessing though. So I mean, that sounds fantastic. I mean, I couldn't imagine, being able to do that. I mean, at kind of a level, right? So you obviously it didn't work out the way exactly you wanted it to, but I mean, you did get to have the experience. So, I mean,
Yes.
there's something for that. And
Yes.
but so then after the golf thing ran its course, then I mean, what direction did you go?
Well, towards the end of the golf, I got into acting, and that was something I always wanted to. I had that in my head
Mm-hmm.
before comedy, and I was working up in San Francisco, and I got into Screen Actors Guild. Did enough jobs to join the Screen Actors Guild. Back then, it was a lot cheaper than it is today.
Yeah, you still have to pay dues though, don't you? I mean, that's all part of being in, right? I guess the barrier to entry was probably less back then.
$1,000.
Yeah. What was your first? What was your first? Because you have to get a gig, right, in order to get eligible. What was your first gig?
I can't remember the first one, but the last one I was that got me in was the working on Nash Bridges.
Oh, okay.
One of Nash Bridges, I believe. I worked on several episodes of Nash Bridges. I can't exactly remember what the first one is. My first job ever was a stand-in for Christopher McDonald. Well, he was, you've probably seen him, might not know the name, but if you saw him on
No,
TV,
he is. He's from Happy Gilmore, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah. He played. I can't think of his character's name, but he typically plays kind of a jerky kind of guy, or kind of a at least he did in Happy Gilmore, right? So he was kind of the nemesis, if you will, and he always comes across that way. I think he does a lot of characters like that.
Yeah, he was in Grease too.
Uh-huh.
And he's just a career actor. He's been in many movies. And
well, how did you become a stand-in? I mean, did you just happen to show up one day like, hey, will you be here so that we can set lights and whatnot? And
no,
like, yeah, sure.
You go through like an agency, and then they pick you based on height and looks. And,
oh, really? So
yeah,
so it's not just height and kind of body type?
Yeah, it is body type as well. Mm. Nowadays, this is more competitive, so they really want any stand-ins to be almost look-alike.
Oh, really?
And facial, the way your face looks, the way your hair looks, it's gotten real down to the millimeters now.
That's kind of creepy in a way, don't you think? Now you're standing around looking like the you look like the actor who's in the scene, and you kind of hang out and get lights pointed at you and whatnot.
Yes,
that's kind of wild. Interesting. So, I mean, I know a little bit about stand-in, but if you could elaborate. So, you basically take the place of the actor while they're getting set up. Is that correct?
No, stand-in's job is they set up all the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Is mainly the thing, and they could see how it looks. That's the main thing to stand in. And sometimes they have you do some movements, or sometimes even have you act out some scenes as well.
Oh,
but
really?
Set up all the lighting. The lighting needs to be spot on all the time. It's a big part of motion pictures. So that's the main part of stand-in.
But so then would you read, like, for instance, let's say Mr. McDonald he had to do press or something, and would you read with his co-star who they were doing their close-ups, and then you would stand in for him and be the other person for them to kind of make eye contact with?
No, the mainly stand-ins, they don't do any reading. Every once in a while, if the stand-in's been with the actor for a long time, then you'll do some reading. Mm-hmm. And it can happen. It does happen, but it's not a big part of just being a standard stand-in. It's mostly just you're staying still, or walking, or moving around.
Yeah. You don't do the hands, do you? Like where they are like off doing something, and they use your hands in something to, as close-ups of the hands for something?
No, that's a different job. That's a hand model job.
Oh.
I have been auditioned for a couple of those roles where you submit your hands, but I've never done.
What would be? What makes a great hand model? Did they give you tips or anything?
I've never seen any tips or any.
Oh, I just can't. I'm like, do you have to? I mean, I chew my fingernails, so I think I would be a horrible hand model because my fingernails look like crap. So I'm assuming that that's not a good thing for a hand model, unless you're like digging yourself out of a grave, and then you'd want to have some mangled looking fingers.
There you go. the grave digger hand model.
That's right, the grave digger hand model. Just cake them with dirt.
Yes.
So were you able to, kind of support yourself with the stand-in business and while you're pursuing your acting, or was this just kind of like a way to get your foot in the door?
Get the foot in the door, stand up, background work, small roles. No, I've never made a living at the acting. It's I've always had to have something else going on while I was doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part when you're younger. You don't have a lot of money, and
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly, you have to be available, and they didn't have like Uber jobs back in the day. So I probably would have done that for sure, something like that. So, and I
Yeah.
never was a waiter, so I
Oh, you
always had,
weren't? Well, what did you do in the off times when you didn't have these gigs?
well, I was. Let me see. I worked for Investors Business Daily, selling the paper.
Mm-hmm.
That was flexible. I did that for about a year, and then I made. Sometimes I'd have to just stop doing the acting for a while
Yeah.
and
Make
work,
money.
make money, and then I was in the car business for a while, trying to make some money.
Oh, so you're a car salesman then?
I was a car salesman, and then worked in the finance department, finance manager. I made it all the way up to Mercedes Benz, selling Mercedes Benz.
Oh, wow. So you were selling some
For
high
about
end
4 years.
cars then? Yeah.
What's that?
You were selling some high end cars then.
Yes, they're definitely high end. It's 125,000, and they're like probably double now.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
them.
was that still in San Francisco, or did you move?
I moved. Well, this is what happened. I got the bug. Actually, I was in this role with Cheech Marin in Nash Bridges, and I was in a scene with him, and that's where I really got the bug. I said, "Let's give this a shot." I was driving home from San Francisco to Monterey, where I lived.
Mhm.
And, got the bug and came down here. Got an agent for golf. I was still playing golf, so I do like golf commercials. Got an agent for that, and was working, working with Central Casting, which has totally changed now. It used to be a lot different. The technology was different back then. And that's when I moved back down to Los Angeles. So then that's when I was working in the car business.
Yeah. Well, that would be the place to do it, I would assume, because you get people who can afford those really expensive cars.
Yes.
So did you ever have any celebrity clients that would come in and that you dealt with, or were you were the guy who the other guys came to? They're like, well, I got to talk to my manager, and then they'd come see you about the finance, and you'd be like, oh, we're not going to give this guy anything. He's broke.
There was several celebrities that came in. Charles Munger, that was Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He bought a car.
He just passed away not too long ago.
Yeah, last year. I think it was like 99.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen. And there's some other ones I can't think of. This is going back almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm curious.
But yeah, there's always celebrities buying Mercedes.
Yeah. So did you interact with them, or did they like send somebody in and say, go get me a, I don't know what the SLS or whatever the one back then was.
Yeah, you were the salesperson for them. I didn't directly deal with like Charles Munger. There were other salespeople that dealt with them, but I saw them there in the dealership.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of a weird situation, I guess, because you have this person that you recognize, obviously, and then now you're in your everyday, right? And then now you see these people who are not everyday people. Was everybody always starstruck, or was it just kind of business as usual there?
No, business as usual. You have to ask professional and go.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're here to make money. They're just another person to buy a car.
Oh, the one person also I saw in the repair, the service part was the announcer for the Dodgers. His name Stu something.
Oh, I can't remember his name either. I'm sorry. I'm not a Dodgers fan.
So. I'd have to look it up.
We'll say Stu Sutcliffe. No, that's not it.
Stu
that's the Beatles guy.
Announcer for the Dodgers, a long-time announcer.
That's pretty wild. So then you were doing. So were you still trying to act while you were doing the car stuff, or?
No, I took a hiatus for about a long time, for probably about 15 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
15 years.
I mean, you had to, make some bank in order to do
Yeah.
the car or to do the acting stuff.
And then I got into my own stuff with financial consulting, with
Yeah.
people coaching. But then I got back into acting about 10 years ago.
Now you said financial coaching, so it'd be like you were a financial planner kind of person, or
Not planning, it was helping couples and individuals deal with getting out of debt, and couples trying to get on the same page. They're always fighting about money, so it's getting them on the same page and try to have a plan, a budget.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible, difficult job.
I was really good at it. That was the thing. I was really good at it.
Because money is the number one, problem with relationships a lot of time.
Yes,
is money, because one person maybe, or if both of them are spenders, then you're screwed, right? And you probably met a lot of people like that. Where one of them could wrangle it in.
The opposites attract. One was a spender, one was a saver.
Yeah. Huh.
So it's trying to get them to work together.
Yeah. I can only imagine that would have been like, because did you have to fights happen in the middle of everything?
There's lots of crying.
Lots of crying. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
I think that's why I got into comedy. I want to start making people laugh.
Yeah. Oh my God, lots of crying. I'm your financial planner, Tim, here to help you get out of this 100,000. First of all, you should not have bought the car from me. The Mercedes was probably a bad thing at the time. Yeah. And then, anyway, but it was good for me. I'm glad I'm getting you on both sides here. Yes. No, I'm just teasing you, Tim. But no, that just sounds like one of those kind of professions that kind of like undertaker. You know what I mean? Where I always think I've never been an undertaker and don't want to be, but I always think that would be a terribly hard, difficult job, because you're dealing with emotional people all the time. And financial planner, like what you're talking about, you've got people that are, kind of wrapped up in emotional, because they've obviously got they're cognizant enough to know that they're in a situation that they need to get out of, but it's a tough situation.
Yes, it's the main thing about it is changing their habits, and people are kind of stuck in the way they do things. So it's trying to break bad habits.
I'm surprised you didn't get into addiction services, because, I mean, to me, spending and stuff like that is just like having a drug addiction. You can't stop it.
It could happen. I had a couple of clients that were big spenders.
Yeah. You just can't turn it off, because it gives you you get high off of spending money.
Yes, you're right. Exactly. It's
you get a kick out of it. Now, I'm guessing that Tim Mann doesn't have any problems in that area.
No, that's probably why I was good at it. So I was able to share people more of a structured way to deal with your money, and to make money work for you instead of you working so hard for it.
Oh, okay. So you also had investment strategies for them as well.
A little bit. So I didn't really try to focus everything on investment, but I could share with them the successes I've had with investments over the years, how to deal with investments.
That's interesting, because I mean, my guess is they were probably had decent incomes, in the realm of things. It's just they were really doing a poor job of handling it, and so the money was still coming in. It's just they had to slow the going out part.
Yes, stop the bleeding.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And so then, how long were you in that kind of a situation?
Probably for about 12, 13 years.
Wow, so you really were good at it then.
Yes.
I mean, I can't imagine doing that for over 10 years if you're, eventually people would be angry with you. Like, Tim's not helping me a whit. Everything's going, he's making it worse.
Well, I tried to make sure that they were committed to making the changes. Otherwise, I don't want to consult with them to coach them.
Yeah. Too bad you didn't know about this house cleaning stuff, because, I mean, that's exact kind of stuff that they do, where they take the people and they're like, you make a little square in your yard and you're like, you only get to keep this stuff. You ever see those shows, the home improvement shows, where they make people whittle down their belongings? I bet you'd be good at that too, because that's the same kind of thing. It's just more visual,
Yes.
You should have got it. You should have got into that about 10 years ago, Tim. You'd probably be one of those HGTV stars at this point.
Right. Definitely.
You've got all the skills.
Yes, that requires some skills.
That's funny. So does the financial planner take us to, was that kind of like your most recent gig, or are you doing other stuff?
No, that was the most recent.
Yeah. Okay. So did you retire from that then?
I still do it a little bit, not very much anymore.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk to you afterwards here.
Sure. I mean, I still have clients here and there. I'm mostly focused on comedy now. And
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you did this horribly depressing financial planning job for 12 years, and so you needed to get a boost to yourself.
Right.
So you're like, so I guess, does that all? I mean, all these things really kind of run together. So from golfing at a higher level, right? So semi-professional level, would you say?
Yes.
And then acting and even being a salesman is, you have to act to be a salesman. There's no doubt about it.
Marketing.
Yeah. All these things run a line. So how did you get to comedy then? I mean, why didn't you just slip right back to? Well, I know you still do acting, I guess, but
yeah.
But you're like, it's hit and miss, right? So,
well, acting, you're depending on one, you're working with other people, and you're also depending on you have like 3 or 4 people making a decision. You got the casting director, the producer, many people in the house trying to make a decision to hire you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with comedy, it's more of a booker or the manager or the owner of the club, or there's many opportunities out there. So, but that's not the main reason. I got in it because I just want to start making people laugh. I was taking a seminar and they asked you, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, I really would like to make people laugh. I've always had it in the back of my head for about 25 years. I said, well, it's time to do it. So I went for it.
So what was your first? Tell us about your first experience. I mean, it's if you read anything or listen to anything, stand-up comedy is one of those horror situations for most people. If you took a person off the street and you said, we're going to put you up on stage and have you tell 5 jokes, and they couldn't do it, right? I mean, they would say, no, I'm not doing that. You're crazy. Yeah. Why would you want to do that? So what was your first experience like whenever you finally committed and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this?
Well, I was lucky because I already had the acting skills behind me. And I also did a lot of public speaking with the financial, and I was also part of Toastmasters as well. So I wasn't afraid to get up there. So it was almost, you're just like a public speaker as well, giving the jokes. I was just wanted to make sure they laughed. That was the thing. There's like silence or they booed you or something. But my first experience, I went up there, there's probably about 50 people in the room, and I hit everything. And one guy came up to me afterwards and said, great job, Tim, and there's people smiling. So I knew there's something there. With my first set. 5 minutes. That's normally what you get when you start out. You get about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hey, what do you call a comedian who doesn't get any laughs, Tim?
I don't know. What do you call
A
them?
politician.
No, that's politician.
Sorry. I've heard that somewhere. I just couldn't help myself. The I had to throw it out there. The but no, so you had encouragement right away, and obviously, I mean, if 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 you had to draw a tangent, if you're golfing like where you have spectators, right? Which what you did, right? So anything, I mean, that is a horrible amount of pressure because you're having to perform
Yes.
and make sure that you get it past the ladies' tee, and
Right.
so you kind of primed yourself over all these years. It sounds like to be
True.
in this position. I don't think people think about sports like that, but I think there's a direct line between like doing acting or doing comedy to sports, because at some point when you're doing sports, you're out there by yourself and you have to perform.
Yes. Especially golf.
And yeah, yeah,
It's
because
so mental.
otherwise you just get. I mean, it's just crushing if you don't do at least moderately well, teeing off or whatever. I mean, you miss a putt, that's one thing, but when you're
Yeah,
when you're
shot
hitting the
too.
ball,
Every day.
that's interesting. So you're out now. How many years have you been? Would you say you consider yourself performing as a comedian then?
I've only been out a year, 1 year.
Oh, okay. So this is fairly recent for you then.
But
Wow.
I do have improv experience. I went to UCB in Los Angeles, Upright
Mhm.
Citizen Brigade, so I performed with them through improv. But
Mhm.
I like stand up much better because it's just me. I don't have to work with a team of people and come up with ideas.
Yeah, I'm,
Um,
I'm guessing the UCB people cried a lot, just like those financial people.
yeah, sometimes.
I'm just guessing. It seems to me like that would be something that would happen. So,
So,
so when you were doing that, who was your teacher at the Upright Citizens Brigade?
oh boy, let me see.
Because I know some famous people sometimes drop in to do things there.
No, it wasn't anyone famous. These were just working actors that did it. I'd have to look up the names. I can't think of them off the top of
Because
my
I
head.
know that I think Amy Poehler went through that when she was younger, and I think she
Yeah.
stops in and does stuff every once in a while still.
Yes, but she wasn't teaching.
so, so you didn't like the improv stuff as much because of the of kind of the interaction, you think, or what?
No, I'm more of come from the golfing world.
Mhm.
I like doing things on my own, and I don't have to depend on other people. With improv, you have to depend on other people.
Yeah,
Seinfeld says the same thing. Jerry Seinfeld, I remember in an interview seeing him. He said, "All right, you got to work with other people, but he'd rather do stand." But he did the Seinfeld, the whole
yeah. I was
Seinfeld.
gonna say he made $1 billion off of working with
Yeah,
other people. A jerk.
it's hard to hear him say that, but
Yeah, no, yeah,
it's.
kidding.
I guess I'd have to say it's just much easier to just do it on my own. I don't have to depend on anybody. Um,
Yeah,
so
but
that's
anybody will tell you Jerry Seinfeld was the least of the actors on the Seinfeld series.
true.
I mean, he did fine, but he was not as good as the others
True. That
with
is true.
with his craft.
Kramer,
He's
George.
like, I don't want to be a pirate. There you go. That's my Jerry Seinfeld impersonation.
There you go. Very good.
Thank you. But that's interesting. So this is kind of like your solo pursuit because you can go out, you can do your thing, and it hits or misses based on you,
Yes.
and that's what you like about it. Oh, interesting. So what? So now I know you just because what do I want to say? I've been stalking you, Tim. No, because
You have
of your Facebook feed. I know you've been to the Comedy Chateau. And now
Yes.
you were at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
Is there other venues that you go to that I just haven't seen yet?
Mostly open mics.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of open mics I go to practice, to try new jokes, to refine things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's mainly, and then Plaza Bowl, I do the open mics there as well.
Right.
And
Well, I was going to come to that. Yeah.
yeah, and then there's ones online too, which is nice. You don't have to drive anywhere. There's one up in San Francisco that's a mic that's online.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to do. It's a little different, but you still get to practice and see if they're laughing.
So how many times a week would you say that you, like, either in person and online, do you do sets or whatever?
Well, before performances, I almost do it every day, just to get into that muscle for the performance. I'd say on average, like 2-3 times a week.
Oh, really?
I'm doing something.
That's a lot.
Yes. And then I'm writing almost every day.
Okay, my next question was going to be on the writing. So you mentioned Seinfeld, and Seinfeld had this thing which it stuck in my head. I don't know where the interview was that I seen him talk about this, but he talked about and I'm going to get this wrong, so everybody can make fun of me later, but it was always I want to say he was called it making the link, and so he would write every day, and then he would mark it on a calendar.
I was just reading about that.
Yeah, and so I don't know the terminology you use. I'm just saying making a link, but he did it every day, and then at the end of the month he would have a notation on his calendar that said he wrote every day, and he would have the material that he wrote every day, and I found that fascinating because whether you apply it to comedy or you can apply that to anything in your life. And if you want to accomplish something, that's what you have to do in order to accomplish it. And I think that that's really quite an interesting lesson. That he applies it to comedy, obviously, but you could say, whatever you want to do, like golfing, for instance, you have to go play every day.
Discipline. I think the word you're talking about, discipline. Having a discipline to do it and not have this shiny object syndrome and go do something else. It's
right.
Discipline and focus. The two big parts of trying to achieve something.
So you're doing that, though. You're writing every day. You're trying to perform several times a week.
Yes.
Now, since it's been a year, where are you at? So, like, if we had a scale from 1 to 10, let's say you started at 1. After the year, where are you at?
Do you mean this first year, or I'm sorry?
Well, I'm saying when you started. Let's say you started, and let's just say everybody when they start rates a 1.
Oh, okay.
On a scale 1 to 10, after a year, how far up the scale have you moved, you think?
I think I'm at 5 or 6.
Oh, really? Okay. That's a good amount.
Yes.
So you're not you're not like perfected, but you are on your way.
Yes, I'm definitely. I could feel on my way from the feedback from the audiences, and the way I do it. I just feel natural, and don't have stage fright. I just go up there. Even like Comedy Store, I was just so relaxed to go up there and biggest crowd, and I killed it, nailed it.
Cool. So did you do 5 minutes then at the Comedy Store?
They only gave you 3 minutes for the
3
pop
minutes? That's still 3 minutes, whatever. Yeah. They don't want you up there staring at the audience for 2 minutes doing nothing.
Yes.
So,
but I could have easily done 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
That's cool. So I'm guessing just like your golf swing, which you probably got down at some point, at least as good as you could, right?
Yes.
You're on your way to that right now.
Right. It's getting the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Working on the fundamentals.
So if you... I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear
Getting in front of different audiences. Like next week, I'm going to Austin, Texas to hit all the mics there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So is this like a vacation / working or what?
Mostly working, but see some of the sites. Austin is now the big capital of comedy.
Right. Yeah. Well, Joe Rogan moved down there. Everybody's got to follow him.
Yeah, he's got the Comedy Mothership.
Yeah.
There's the Sunset Strip Club as well. Comedy Club.
Well, take some sunscreen and a hat. It's
Yes.
terribly hot down there.
Well, it can't be as hot as Palm Springs, so
Well, you're in the desert, so.
yeah. Be
Um,
humid.
I don't know. It's pretty hot down. Well, there's humidity in Texas. That's the worst part.
Yes. Right. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll be stormy a little bit, which would be good.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So the so you're gonna go down. So this is like on your own kind of situation where you're like, I'm gonna go down to Austin. I'm gonna try to do this.
Yes. Oh, I just want to go there and experience the open mics and get lay the land and network as well. Networking is always a big part of it in this business.
So do you already have everything set up, or are you gonna like got a couple things and you're gonna try to get more while you're there?
Just the open mics, the mics there. I've been reaching out by email, and they have websites where they tell you all the different open mics on the mics. So, and they have quite a few of them. That's the thing. It's just amazing how many they have available. It's like 10 a day.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Except for weekends. Weekends they don't have the mics.
Right.
They need paid. They have more of the shows.
Like headliner type stuff.
Headliners, yes.
Yeah. So if you had to, let's say, you're talking to somebody who's like yourself, right? They've had other careers, right? And then now they're at the point where they're like, I think I want to try this. If you had to give somebody a piece of advice on starting to do this, what would that be?
Well, the main thing is just get started. People just keep waiting, but just do something and just try it. And even if you're taking baby steps, just do it. If you have this passion or this dream stuck in your head to try it, I mean, give it a shot. See what happens. What's the worst that could happen? Nothing.
Nobody laughs at you, and then you're standing up there for 3 minutes.
Well, then if it's not working within the first year or two, then at least you tried it, and
maybe you should take up a golf.
Yeah, there you go. Take up golf or pickleball is the big thing now.
Yeah, I know, pickleball. Oh my God, the pickleball people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm in St. Louis, and pickleball they have like places that you go drink and play pickleball.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Imagine drinking playing pickleball. I guess you could.
Well, else that and you get food.
Yes.
So, it's like bowling, except it's pickleball.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, that's it. So that's good. But if I suppose so, when you first went out, you had a pretty good experience, though. It sounds like on your first go round. I mean, how many? Like, if you fail the first time, how many more times you think you'd give it before you're like, you know what? Maybe not for you.
Well, like Rodney Dangerfield, he said you just got to keep doing it, doing it, and doing it. It's that's a good question. Depends how long you maybe get a few years, 3 years, but you just can't do it off one set, so one performance. You're gonna bomb. That's one thing I learned from other comedians is there's gonna be days you just bomb, and I bombed once. It was tough crowd. And they weren't laughing. They weren't laughing at any of us, but there's going to be a bunch of.
Was it like disgruntled postal workers?
I don't know what it was.
Or something?
I don't know what happened that night. Well, there was a lot of comedians, and then there was a bunch of first timers. That didn't help.
So nobody's warming the crowd for you.
Yeah, it's good to get in, and plus that's towards the end too. That's another thing. It's been we're in the lineup, but that makes a great comedian. If you're towards the end and people have already left, and people are already having a laughs, and you can make them laugh, then that means that you're really good at it.
You got it going on. So if you had to describe your style of comedy, what would you, or you compared yourself to somebody else that maybe folks would know by name, what would you say it was?
I go by the comedic character. I'm a comic with a character, comedic character. So like Sam Kinison, Rodney Dangerfield, Steve Martin, they're all character comedians. Right. I decided to go that route. It just made the most sense than to do like talk about, going to the grocery store type of.
You didn't want to do the observational stuff, huh?
I do a tiny bit observational, but not much. It just I might start doing a little more just to add it to the set. But I don't do a lot of observational comedy. I think it's much harder to do it that way. But there's some people that do it really well.
So what would you say? How would you describe your character then?
My character is a guy that's happy. He's kind of like a little tipsy. He's always doing things. He thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's always screwing up everything he touches.
So you, I'm trying to think of somebody that would fit that motif off the top of my head here.
There used to be there was one guy that was really drunk. I forgot his name.
Foster Brooks?
Foster Brooks, but he was really drunk.
Yeah. Well, Dean Martin, oddly enough, I hate to go that far back, but Dean Martin played the tipsy guy when he wasn't really tipsy.
Yes, that's the happy, I'm happy sided.
Yeah.
I think I'm proud of what I do, but everything I do it's way off the wall. I'm so proud. I got a chip on my shoulder, so like I say, like I'm a great lover. They always come back for more, and then I screw it. That gets all screwed up with the women.
Okay, well that's cool, and I never really thought about it.
Wherever I go.
So the character, so like Andy Kaufman, he was a character whenever he was doing comedy, but he also was very absurd. So there's like the absurd. Steve Martin too, in a way, was kind of absurd as well.
Yes, and Andrew Dice Clay is also a character, more of the raunchy type.
Right? Yeah.
And they all did really successful at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. And then, oddly enough, those type of folks then usually roll into acting work because that character becomes, easily fits into other worlds, as it were. Like Latka Gravis from Taxi was basically a variant of Andy Kaufman's act. He did a thing called Foreign Man, and that was Latka. Not exactly, but close.
Yeah, it's at least roles in movies, commercials. Did they do some commercials? Some beer commercials or something.
Ernest, for Christ's sake, that guy who played he dead, but the guy who played Ernest did all those commercials is what he did before he got more famous, he was just doing commercials.
Yeah, so it's fun. And the other thing I get, sometimes I go through the day, I'm just like, it kind of gets me high, just writing material and performing. Mm-hmm. It's just a natural, I can't explain it, just natural energy I get from it.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
So do you get support at home? I mean, I don't know if you're married or what have you. Or
I'm single, so I don't have the family around. I don't have the support, but all my friends support. When I posted that the picture from the Comedy Store, I got all kinds of comments and likes and loves. So I got.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool seeing all that. Right now, I'm trying to build up the Instagram page. Get that social media going.
There you go. And I just put it up there at
thank you.
Comedy.
Tim Mann Comedy on Instagram.
You can go follow Tim, and he'll take pictures when he's in Austin, and you can see him in front of comedy clubs in Texas.
Yeah, everything's big there.
Yeah. Are you going to wear a cowboy hat when you go?
I don't have one. Maybe I'll buy one or some boots.
Yeah, I have to get one while you're down there, I think.
Yeah, I was looking forward to eating some of the barbecue down there.
Well, yeah, that's
Barbecue.
true.
So I'm
That's
looking forward to
true.
that. Then I might go up to Dallas as well on the weekend, and check that out as well.
Oh my gosh, if you go to Dallas, it's just like being in Los Angeles.
Is it? I haven't been
A lot
there.
of traffic. A lot of traffic.
Imagine.
Yeah, you should go to San Antonio. I don't
San
even know where
Antonio.
that is in relation to Austin, but
That's closer than Dallas.
yeah, because it has this, it has a nice downtown. You can go see the Alamo.
Oh, really? That almost there? San
Yeah,
Antonio?
Alamo. The hilarious thing about San Antonio, I didn't even realize this till I went to visit, is the Alamo is right downtown.
Really?
Yeah, it's amongst all these tall buildings, and then there's this. The Alamo is there. I
Oh,
would have
wow.
thought it would have been out in the middle of nowhere. It's right there.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be somewhere off the beaten path.
Yeah, and you're not too far from what's called the Riverwalk, which is where they have a river, and all these hotels and everything and businesses line the Riverwalk, and it's a super nice area. And but yeah, you're right by the Riverwalk when you go to the Alamo, and go have a good lunch. Maybe ride the boat because they have boats that go down the river, the Riverwalk and everything. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, maybe on my
Dallas,
next
sure,
trip.
you can go to Dallas if you want, but
Maybe on my next trip.
It's crowded. It's crowded like Los Angeles.
Dallas is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go there on the weekend, so there won't be as much traffic for commuting the job. So maybe it'll be a little less. If I go up there, I haven't decided yet. So maybe I can take a trip down to San Antonio or Houston.
Well, I would suggest San Antonio. I've never been to Austin. That's one of the places I want to go to. But San Antonio was very nice and kind of relaxed.
Okay.
Whereas when you get into Dallas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, it's more, city.
Yes.
Kind of stuff and a little more high energy and everybody's moving. So I'm a more laid back kind of guy. So I like the laid back.
That's
parts.
good. I'm laid back too, but I grew up in LA, so kind of used to it.
So so I was going to ask you one more question and we'll wrap it up, Tim. So I met Tim on Plausible, right? And plausible.com is a platform where folks can go and do comedy, and it's virtual comedy and so forth. And then Tim and I were in doing the crowd work thing, and we did the roast battle thing. I think we've been in both of those. And you've probably been in more stuff because you've been around there longer than I have. But out of all the stuff that you've done through Plausible, which one is your, what would you say is of more interest to you, I guess?
I'd have to say the roast battle is probably just doing that and writing the jokes right there. Thinking about the jokes and then roasting somebody and trying to be good at the roast battle. Crowd work is probably the challenge for me because I'm thinking off the cuff. I'm more of a comedian that just gives up their set. So, but just working them both. But roast battles are kind of fun.
Yeah.
Come up with jokes.
And then, and by the way, I think Tim and I are going to be roasting each other this Sunday.
Yes, come on out.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. You and I are definitely the more low energy folks, I would say. I mean, not that we're not high energy, but we're not, manic like some other folks are.
Right.
We're definitely more even keel to laid back comparatively speaking. So it may be a little weird.
Well, it should be fun then.
Yeah, it'll definitely be different. But Tim, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to talk to me and going. I mean, we went through your whole career life here, and I found out that you did stuff that I would have never guessed. How people always jump to judgment when they look at somebody like, oh yeah, I bet he's a pastor at a Lutheran church or something like that, and then that's not the reality. And so it's really refreshing to learn about folks and see that they have such a varied background. So
Yeah.
but if you if you so tell people. So when you're going to Texas, I mean, do you have some spots you're going to be at? Tell folks, because I'm going to get this posted pretty quick. So.
Well, doing the mics there, it's trying to get on the mics. You have to still register for them. There's the Creek and the Cave and the Comedy Mothership and the Sunset Strip Comedy Club. And then there's Rocco's Comedy Club as well. And then there's another one, I forgot the name of it. It's just on 6th and 7th Street. There's a bunch of them. I don't have to check yet until I'll be performing or anything. I don't have anything set in stone because they're just going to.
Yeah, but you'll be hanging out down there for that week.
Hanging out there, yeah. Get into some of them.
So look, you see Tim. There he is. So you can look for him in the crowd. And then at Tim Mann Comedy on Instagram, go ahead and follow him, and he'll update, like I said, with pictures, and tell you what he's up to, and we'll see where this all goes. Year 1 down, working on year 2. Tim Mann Comedy. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Bob.
Hold on for just a second here.
Sure.